Chloroform. Hi, I'm Holiday, and this is Looking Into Evil and Diamond Painting. I will be doing a diamond painting while talking about somebody evil. Let me start off by saying it is Thursday, and I am a day late. I am a day late because if you didn't know, I am a cake artist, and I had 2 orders to do. Well, no, actually it was one big order to do for cupcakes and pull apart cake, whatever. um, I'll link some pictures, and if you want to see any other work that I do for cakes, it'll be down in the description below. So, also I want to say that, listen, because I've been late and I couldn't really do a lot of the painting on camera, sadly, we're going to have to do a 4th video for this painting. Like, it's almost done, but I need maybe another week to do it before I showcase it to y'all in the next video, saying, "Wow, look what we completed," you know? Because, like, if you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but we got like these spaces left, and these spaces actually take up to 2 to 3 hours each. So, we'll be doing that. We'll be doing one more video on this painting, and then we will move on to the next one. So where do we begin? Okay, so this week, the person who is evil that we will talk about this week is the Lipstickkiller. William Heirens? Don't quote me on his last name. William Heirens was born November 15, 1928. His parents are George and Marguerite Heirens. William grew up in Lincolnwood, Chicago. His childhood was very impoverished, and he had a very dysfunctional family. His parents would argue constantly, like constantly argue. And to get away from that and to dissociate, he would walk around the neighborhood to try to get away from it. I'm using my much smaller diamond tray today, okay? So to get away from his parents arguing, he walks around the neighborhood. He decides to become a burglar. Crazy, right? When parents argue, I didn't think that, you walk around the neighborhood and start stealing from people, but you know what? That's the choice he took. I won't say it. I won't go for it. So, every time his parents would argue, he would, okay, I have a cat if you hear anything jingling. He would walk around the neighborhood and steal from his neighbors and everything. And at one point, he did get caught and he was arrested, and he was forced to tell them, okay, so where did you put everything you stole? Like, where is the merchandise? And he ended up putting the merchandise in a shed, an abandoned shed on top of a building. And it's crazy because, like, usually when people steal something, they usually, like, pawn it off or anything. But he wasn't pawning it off. He was just keeping it, if that makes sense. Like, he wasn't trying to make money off of it. He was just stealing it to keep it for himself. He was arrested at 13. His jail time was, I believe, 11 months. Well, first, let's start off. He was charged with 11 counts of burglary. And then his jail time was, I don't want to say jail time because he was 13. So he went to a Catholic school for delinquent children, or like, or children, or I don't want to say, well, dysfunctional children that needed help and that did like petty crimes like burglary and everything. But once he was released, not like really shortly after he was released, he went back to committing burglaries, and he started to again steal, and this time he was caught in jail for about, I believe, a year or so. He went to 2 different schools for boys. Well, 2 different Catholic schools for bad children, the boarding schools or whatever. So instead of juvie, they'll go here. So one of the first, Give Out School Wayward for boys, and the second school he went to was St. Bede Academy. At St. Bede Academy, like I said, when he was second time he was arrested, he spent about 3 years here. 3 years. 3 years there for all the burglary crimes he committed. While in school, found out that he was SMRT. He was very smart in all his academics, from science to mathematics to basically anything he put his mind to. He was very smart. So his teacher at the time in the St. Bede Academy School that he was at 3 years for, he noticed how smart he was, and he told him that, yo, I think you should apply for college, the University of Chicago. And this guy, William's brain thinking like, yeah, I am smart. I could do that. Like, I really could. I am smart. So he decided to apply, and as he got out at 16, he was accepted into the University of Chicago. So, he's in school. He goes to the University of Chicago. At one point, he's at home commuting back and forth from home, but he just couldn't live there anymore because his parents would constantly argue, and he just couldn't take it no more. So he decided to get an apartment closer to school. And as he got closer to school, he started to get more familiar with the girls and the teachers and all the students. Girls would say he was handsome right off the back. He was very charming. But hearing that he was charming, it did not take long for William to go back to the life of being a burglar. And this is where his downfall would start to become once he started burglarizing homes again. This is where the murders start to come in. So he killed about 2 women and 1 child. His first 2 victims are Josephine Ross, 43. She was stabbed to death. The second is Frances Brown. She was 33 years old. She was stabbed to death and shot, I believe, twice. And the third victim, which is a 6-year-old little girl named Suzanne, she was kidnapped. He left a ransom note. Later on, they found her body dismembered in a sewer. Yeah. But what I forgot to mention is that these are all alleged killings. Alleged. I will say alleged again because, listen, the story gets crazy. The reason why he's called the Lipstick Killer is because on Frances Brown's wall, he writes the quote. Let me read it from word for word. For heaven's sake, catch me before I kill more. I cannot control myself. That is the quote that he allegedly wrote on this wall in Frances Brown's room right after killing her. He's not caught yet because he starts to rob another apartment complex. He starts to rob. A resident of the apartment complex sees him, calls the police. The police and him are having a standoff. And somehow, some way, he ends up being captured by police by somebody hitting him over the head with a flower pot. I don't know how they were able to get that. They were shooting and everything, but for some reason, somehow, somebody hit him over the head in the flower pot. So now he has a brain injury. Not a brain injury, but a head injury, I guess. Same thing. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And as he is being arrested, he was already suspected of being the lipstick killer. But they needed more proof or more evidence to see if that was true. Remember, I said that with Suzanne's murder, there was a ransom note, so they were able to get his prints and match them up to the ransom note, and they, match, supposedly. Allegedly, they matched, and they went from there to interrogate him and to find out what actually happened. Because when I say he was interrogated, I mean he was tortured and interrogated. As in, they never got him medical. They never gave him his Miranda rights, but this is before Miranda rights were even like a thing. They never gave him his Miranda rights, which is, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be proven against you in court of law. Blah, 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 blah. They tortured him, as in they had him, like, strapped to a bed. And sometimes they had his, like, arms up in the ceiling where he was hanging for, like, hours and hours. And other times they, like, were torturing him with only like one light bulb in the room and yelling at him, trying to get him to confess. But through all this, William does not confess. He does not confess to any of the murders, like any of them at all. So it go like, and it's crazy because then he doesn't confess, and to make him try to confess, they give him a spinal tap with no anesthetic, nothing. They even give him truth serum, and truth serum is sodium pentothal, and it's supposed to make you like tell the truth and everything. And even during this whole, torturing, interrogation that they do, they see that he is just not confessing, so then they just throw him in a cell, right? Throw him in a cell until he wants to say that he did it or whatever. So then a newspaper, I think the Chicago Times, like a newspaper, let's be serious, the media comes out and says that he has confessed to all the murders. He did it. He said that he did it, but it was all fabricated. All of it was fabricated. It was all a lie. And William got like news of this, and he's just like, "Oh, they're saying I did it. I confess. Oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?" So he ends up, sadly, he ends up to confessing to the three murders of two women and dismembering a child. But he stood by his innocence the whole time, and even as later times come on, he tries to recant his statement because he said that he was just so hurt, upset, confused because the newspaper was saying that he confessed, but he didn't confess. So, after reading all this, he is convicted of murder of three people, two women and one child, and he is sentenced to 3 life sentences, and trying to fight for his freedom for innocence to the murders. Not saying that he wasn't robbing people, but innocence to the murders. So he's fighting. There's actually a lawyer that comes, and her name is Dolores Kennedy. She is on his team trying to help him fight the allegations of him. Well, not the allegation, him being convicted of murder. She's trying to help free him and get him his innocence because it comes out later that the FBI looked at the ransom note and that the fingerprints didn't match up. It looked as if somebody added them to the ransom note, that they weren't even like he touched it. It was as if somebody took his prints and added them there. There's also speculation or a rumor going around that a journalist was at the scene of the crime of Frances Brown's murder, and that he is the one that wrote the note on the wall that says, "For heaven's sakes, stop me, I can't control myself," in lipstick. So supposedly he didn't do these things, but somebody wrote the note in lipstick, and they're assuming that he was the one that wrote the note in lipstick. And this is why he's the lipstick killer, because also supposedly there was a note, allegedly, a note, Josephine Ross's murder too, and it was in lipstick. So, they're trying to see what theme, so they called him the lipstick killer for for this stuff and everything. So, and it just gets crazy because William is in prison for 3 life sentences, and he applied to have his case looked at over 30 times. And at one point, he was the longest imprisoned person in the U.S. for almost 65 years or so, because sadly William dies March 5th, 2012. It later comes out that the Supreme Court agrees that his rights actually were violated during his interrogation, and then during him being tortured and everything. He shouldn't have been tortured. You know what I mean? He shouldn't have been tortured to get any information out. Ridiculous. You can be as smart as you want. Either way, interrogation can be really a high intense thing, and it can make you confess the things that you don't want to do. For example, the Central Park 5, they were under interrogation for 6, 8, 10, 14 hours or something like that. And they ended up confessing to a rape that they didn't do. So just think that if you're in this, just think this guy is, being interrogated for this long. He's not seek medical treatment. medical treatment. They're giving him pain, like they're giving him truth serum with no aesthetic in his spine, and they have him hung up with one light bulb in the room, so they're torturing him the whole time. This would probably make anybody confess to any crime just so they can stop being tortured. It's just upsetting that, William was probably innocent, not innocent of the burglaries, but he was probably innocent of 2 murders and a dismemberment of a little girl, but nobody was thinking about that. And I'm assuming that the murder stopped once he was caught. But what if the murderer who was killing these women were like, oh, let me stop now because they caught the guy, let me just stop now. Cops always think they did what they had to do or was doing the right thing. But I really think forced this one out of their back pocket. So, and it's sad. It's sad that he ended up dying the longest prisoner in the U.S. prison system. And it's sad that he applied 30 times for his freedom and it just didn't happen. So this one is kind of a sad one. But you tell me below in the comments what y'all think. Do y'all think he was innocent or do y'all think he was guilty? Tell me in the comments below. But that will be our story for this week. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see everybody next Wednesday. See you later. Bye.